Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. We are in the month of March, and March signifies Gaur Purnima, appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And for last couple of sessions, we've been discussing the verses, the Ashtakam of the 8 verses given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a teaching. He himself has given only these 8 verses as his teachings, but he has instructed Rupa and Sanatan Goswami and other Goswamis of Vrindavan. Eventually, they wrote a lot of bhakti literature. But per se, Mahaprabhu didn't wrote anything. He's just given these 8 verses, which kind of covers the gamut of whole bhakti literature, whatever is required for one to deliver one from oneself from this world and go back to Krishna. Whatever is required, everything is provided in these 8 verses. The essence of all Vedic knowledge is in these 8 verses. The most useful information which will enable us to go back to Krishna is given in these 8 verses. So even if we can learn these 8 verses nicely, we can pray, chant these 8 verses nicely in a prayerful mood for with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will get Krishna Prem. That is why he has come. He has come to deliver us this Prem, the Krishna Prem. And once we get it, we will not give it up, and then we will surely go back to Krishna. So these 8 verses we will chant right now. We've covered 5 verses in last couple of sessions. We've seen the background of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the reasons why he appeared in this world, why he took avatar. This was not scheduled avatar. This is a scheduled avatar, but this is not mentioned avatar explicitly in the Puranas, in the Bhagavatam. But there is a reference that Gaurasanga Sundar will appear, and by his simply by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will deliver the entire world, and every nook and corner of this world, Hare Krishna Mahamantra will be people will sing and people will dance and people will purify themselves and people will go back to Krishna, and whoever will remain in these 10,000 years will have to face the atrocities of the Bhishan Kali Yuga. The Ghor Kali Yuga will start after this, and then there will be practically no Krishna consciousness. And until Kalki Avatar happens, the situation on this planet will be extremely difficult. So we'll sing this verses, and then we will look at the last 3 verses of the today's session. Again, these are all verses are very very beautiful, but these last 3 verses are very very special. They reveal the heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna. So we get to see what's in the heart of Lord Krishna. What is he thinking about his devotees? So we'll go to those verses later, but let's sing the entire Ashtakam. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापणम् श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृता स्वादनम् सर्वात्मं स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम् नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रर्पिता नियमिताः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरिवा सहिष्णुना अमानिनामानदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मने जन्मनेश्वरी भवताद् भक्तिरहेतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्किरं पतितमां विषमे भवाम्बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गदगदर्धया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे आश्लिष्य वा पदरतां पिनिष्टु माम् अदर्शनान् मरमाहतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे So the verse which we will see today are 6, 7, and 8. The verses we will discuss today are 6, 7, and 8. And the sixth verse is Nayanam Galadashrudharaya Vadanam Gadagadardhaya Gira Pulakair Nichitam Vapukada Tava Nama Grahane Bhavishyati. Up till now, what we have seen is how Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Mahaprabhu is declaring that holy name is let the holy name be victorious, victorious in the region of our heart. Let our heart readily, happily, voluntarily submit and surrender to this holy name. Let my heart not fight with holy name, and in that way my holy name will be able to win my heart when I willingly submit to the holy name, and holy name captures my heart, and then the holy name claims the victory. Now look, holy name does not want to forcefully conquer the region of my heart. My heart is where all my emotions are. My heart is not biological heart. My heart is where all my emotions are. When I stop proposing everything, I accept whatever is given by Krishna, and I look forward to love and serve Krishna, then that is my surrender of heart. I don't have any other desire other than serving Krishna, other than loving Krishna. Then that is where my heart is conquered by the holy name. The holy name become victorious. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And this is not a lose-lose situation for me, because what I will experience, I will get connected with Krishna. I will get connected with the spiritual potency of Krishna, who is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. And by that connection, I will also experience unlimited happiness, like ocean like happiness. Ever increasing ocean like happiness is what I will experience in return. So when I surrender, when I stop craving for sense gratification, uh, and I surrender voluntarily to Krishna, I experience unlimited spiritual happiness. With my limited senses also, I can experience unlimited spiritual happiness. And but that is not always happening, because second verse Mahaprabhu says that even though there is so much which Krishna has done for me. Krishna, by simply chanting his name, I can go back to Krishna. I don't have to really be perfect, be completely sin free and completely surrendered, just like mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. I Krishna has lowered that bar also, and Krishna has invested all his potencies, all his energies into his name. And by simply chanting that name, I can develop love for Krishna and I can go back to Krishna. But so Krishna has done so much for me, and I have no I am what and what is my condition? I am still struggling to chant holy name with faith. I am still struggling to chant holy name with attention. I am so I have no attachment to the chanting of holy name, which is going to be which is my only hope to get delivered from this world. Otherwise, I will get caught up in the repeated birth cycle of repeated birth and repeated deaths. And my only hope is holy name. And Krishna has done so much for me, but on my part, I have no attachment to this holy name. How durdevi am I? How useless am I? How miserly I am? So Mahaprabhu is expressing this feeling on behalf of all of us. It's not he had any difficulty in remembering Krishna. Completely he was playing a role of a devotee. He was demonstrating by his actions how a devotee should remember Krishna. And so it was not his problem, but he's speaking this verse on behalf of all of us, that we have no attachment to the chanting of holy name. But if whatever chanting little bit, or whatever chanting we will do, what effect it will have, that is explained in the third verse, when Krishna Mahaprabhu says that Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna. One should become for chanting, continuously chanting this holy name, one needs to be a humbler than the blade of grass, and tolerant like a tree. And he should be prepared to give all respects to everyone, seeing everyone as part and parcel of Krishna, and should not expect any man or any respect in return. Now, in that condition, one can continuously chant holy name. One can remember Krishna continuously. Now we understood that yesterday last session we discussed that have big humility or humbleness, submissive spirit is the beginning of bhakti, is the first and the last word in bhakti. Without humility, without submissive spirit, our bhakti doesn't start. Without faith, basic level of faith, that I know I don't know everything, and there are people who know more than me, and I should seek their guidance. Unless we have this humility, this submissive spirit, our process of bhakti doesn't begin in the first place. So this is where we start. And with humility we get bhakti, and by getting bhakti we become more humble, more submissive. So it's a symbiotic process, it continuously goes on, it's a cycle. Because you have some basic faith, that somebody else also know more than you, and some basic submissive spirit, some basic humility, you approach a devotee give their association to you. Then you take up harinam, you take up chanting of harinam, or Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Bhajana kriya begins, and anartha nivritti you witness, and thereby your small faith become mountain like faith, and you become that gets faith becomes nishtha, shraddha becomes nishtha, and you practice Krishna consciousness with more commitment, more wholehearted way. So because of humility we become devotee, and once we become devotee we become more humble. So it's continuously goes on. Now later, the another verse, couple of verses we saw that na dhanam na janam, where Mahaprabhu is desiring, expressing what is his desire, what he don't want and what he wants, he wants birth after birth, ahetuki bhakti, at the lotus feet of Krishna. I want to become your, I want to perform devotional service at your lotus feet of O Lord Krishna, birth after birth, for which I don't mind taking multiple births. I don't want birth after birth. I don't want multiple birth for continuing with my sense gratification. I have plans for sense gratification, unlimited plans for sense gratification. I have unlimited desires, and for which I can imagine one birth is not enough. So People want to take birth, repeated birth, to enjoy, to completely satisfy their desires, completely complete their desires for sense gratification. But a devotee has other plans. He says, I can take birth after birth if I get chance to serve your lotus feet without any motivation. I have to keep bhakti at your lotus feet. So that is the desire expressed by Mahaprabhu, and that is the desire that we all should look forward to cultivate. The fifth verse, another beautiful verse, is Ainanda Tanuja Pankaja. um, of that, oh son of Nanda Maharaj, you are so great, and I am so fallen. I am King Kiram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Modo. I am fallen into this ocean of material desires, happiness, distress, anarthas, the lust, greed, anger, and various other things that I've got caught up in this ocean. And swimming this ocean on my own strength is impossible. So, oh Lord, please lift me from this material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. And then come this verse. Now, this verse, we saw earlier that the first 5 verses are part of sadhana bhakti. Now, this is what we are expected to do, because we don't have spontaneous natural love for Krishna. We have love for ourselves, and at the most our family members. So we love ourselves the most. We value ourselves the most. So we don't value Krishna so much, and what to speak of other people and other living entities. So for us, the world is created for our enjoyment, and hence our purification is required. And so the first 5 verses are part of sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti, where we should be doing our sadhana no matter how we feel every day morning. We should get up and perform our sadhana bhakti. Whether we feel happy about it, whether we feel bored about it, we should nevertheless perform our bhakti. And once we do that repeatedly enough, we will come to a platform where we have spontaneous attraction for Krishna. And this verse is in that mood, spoken in that mood. So it's a raganuga bhakti. Um, Rupa Goswami describe different types of bhakti in his book Nectar of Devotion, or and in that book, it's called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Very beautiful Sanskrit name, but when it comes to English, we call it Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, very nice name. And in that Rupa Goswami has explained different types of bhakti, different types of devotees, and what is their mood, what are their symptoms. And so one of the is Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. So this verse is spoken in Raganuga bhakti, where there is natural spontaneous attraction towards Krishna that has been awakened. And so this verse is not an ordinary verse. Now this verse describes that because you have because you have love inside, how it is showing effects outside, which are visible effects, which are at a bodily level. How my external physical body is affected because of the intense love that I'm having for Krishna right now. So this is the verse which describe that aspect. The subsequent next two verses is, as we spoke on that, Shraddha, about Shraddha, then Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, then we have Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, then Bhava, and Prema. uh, Ruchi Bhava Prema, and then we get the taste for the devotional service. Then we get Bhava. So this next verse, the seventh verse, symbolizes Bhava. And Bhava is again a very intense emotion, one step below prema. Prema is complete madness. One become completely mad in love for your beloved, and that is a prema stage of bhakti. And bhava is where all the simply by uh, remembering Krishna, we our all bodily symptoms, or all all 8 vikaras get developed in our body, and that happens repeatedly and on an uncontrolled way. Our voice choke, and those are described in Chaitanya Charitamrita at various places, Ashta Satviki Vikaras, and those are demonstrated. Those will be demonstrated by us. Those will come to us naturally. We don't have to show it off to people that my hairs are standing to the end. My, I'm crying continuously just by remembering by just by remembering Krishna. I start crying. Now, this is something very difficult for us to imagine. How can such thing happen? But that's the advanced stages of bhakti that we should all aspire to go to, not copy, but naturally aspire to go there. And the last verse, that Ashlishya va padarita pinishtamam, that is spoken by Radharani. So that she is mad in love with Krishna, and she is prepared to do anything for Krishna's happiness, and that is one step little ahead of gopis. Bhava is where gopis are, and Radharani is completely in love, complete surrender mood of Lord Shri Krishna. And we'll see and we read some of her statements from Chaitanya Charitamrita 20th chapter, Ante Leela 20th chapter. So moving forward, we'll discuss this verse. Now we'll see. Now these are all these are all very these verses are spoken at at a completely different level. We in our lifetime may or may not really experience these bhakti features in ourselves. We may, if we apply ourselves fully to the process of devotional service as guided by Srila Prabhupada, but given our limitations, given our anarthas, given our attachments, given our doubts, they keep us bound in this world. And we have desires to for enjoying this world as well. We have not completely given up hope that this world cannot be enjoyed, and and hence all these are very difficult for us to imagine and even experience if we unless we apply ourselves properly to the process of bhakti. These are not something which is readily available to us, or we may not fully experience them. However, by Krishna's mercy, we will get glimpses of it, and that is possible. That is possible when we go through various highs and lows in our life, and if we are doing bhakti continuously, we will have different experiences for performing, say, morning japa. When we are on a high, we have different experience when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the morning 16 rounds, and when we experience some low in the material life, and next day morning we go for chanting, we experience something different in our japa. What we will experience depends on our nature. There's no universal law, but depend on our mood towards Krishna, our faith, what quantity of faith we have developed towards Krishna. It will depend on all that, what our experience will be. Some experiences, if our mood is proper, will bring us closer to Krishna, no matter if it is high or it is low in the material world. When I get promotion, when I achieve something in the material world, or when I face a setback in the material world, I become failure in material world, I lose something substantially in the material world. In both situations, if our mood is proper, and when we get up in the morning and chant, we will come closer to Krishna, no matter what is our condition. But that need not be the case with everyone, and all of us have different mood towards Krishna. So all of us will see things differently, will experience things differently, through our highs and lows. When we when we perform bhakti like this. So let's look at this verse more closely. Nainam galad ashrudharaya. Ashrudharaya means streams of tears running down. Gadgada is a faltering. When my voice is choked, I can't even speak the words I have desire to speak, but words don't come out of my mouth. And and my Rudhaya is getting choked. My because of emotion, my throat get choked. I'm unable to speak. The words don't come out of my mouth properly. Pulake, with erection of hairs due to transcendental happiness. Vapu, the body. Namagrahane bhavishyati, while chanting your name in future. So this is, we'll see the translation. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice falter and all the hairs on my body stand erect in the transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name? We'll see. We don't know. I don't want to ask question. How many of you have experienced any one of this? But let us see. Let's ask something else. Now this the crying, the all the symptoms that were described in this verse, they they are they are there because of intense emotion that is experienced by a bhakta, by a devotee. When a devotee experience intense emotions, this kind of a thing can happen. The Otherwise, this is not a physical problem, this is not a medical problem, let me put it that way. But this is problem that one can experience when they get when they experience intense emotion of love towards someone. Intense emotion. Now we might not have really experience that for our loved ones also in the material world, but this is the result of that intense emotion. It's not a medical problem uh, that we need to address. So on one hand there are sentiments or emotions, and on another hand there is a logic or reason. The question is, I want you all to raise your hand. Question is, which one is good in general? And then second question is, which one is good in bhakti? What is better in bhakti? What is useful in bhakti? So we have logic versus sentiment, or reason versus emotion, or whichever way you want to put it. Logic and reason on one side and sentiments or emotions on another side. Question is, which one is good in general and which one is especially good in bhakti? You can raise hand and we can hear from some of you. So Vikas Sharma Prabhuji's hand is raised, but let me ask him later. Uh, I'll encourage others to jump in and speak. Yeah. Manjumata is saying sentiment in bhakti is more important. Okay, don't worry about right or wrong answer. Uh, Haresh Prabhuji, yes, please go. You can unmute yourself, Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Prabhuji, yeah, you can start speaking. You can unmute and speak.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
In the bhakti, there is definitely an emotional requirement is more predominantly required because unless we surrender ourselves, we cannot be a devotee to connect with the Lord Krishna or have a successful bhakti. But for living in the real world, I think it is not only the emotional connect, but we have to have some logical or rational discussions or rational understanding of the environment.
Okay. So bhakti, for bhakti in the devotional service, emotions should be predominant, and for carrying out our worldly duties, day-to-day life, the reason is critical. Sudhi Prabhu, thank you so much, Roji. Nice answer. Sudhi Prabhu and Trishna Mataji later.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, what I have experienced here, Hare Krishna. Prabhu,
Hare.
what I have experienced many times, even in general condition. So hair stands, tears coming out of eyes while dealing. Sometimes, not always. Even in general condition, I don't know whether it is coming out of bhakti or not, but it.
Prabhu, we lost your voice.
So,
Yes.
or in out of bhakti, emotions. Oh, sorry. So sometimes what we have seen is that even in general conditions or with bhakti, emotions play a bigger part in our actions. Sometimes maybe by logic we may not be able to define it, but it comes out of emotions naturally. So I have experienced both the ways. For general condition as well as in bhakti, the emotions play a very big role. However, Harish Prabhuji also told the right thing. So what we do is that we apply our logical mind to deal with situations because we are dealing with the general life. But naturally, an emotional mind keeps on working.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for your nice answer. Trishna Mataji is
Hare
not
Krishna.
there. Maybe.
I am there. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna,
please.
Prabhuji.
Hare
I am
Krishna.
there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have felt the same way. That whenever we perform any bhakti or even prayers or while chanting, sentiments are more important when we perform any kind of bhakti, and to carry out our day-to-day life we read reason. For example, for anything, for example, if there is something in my reason, why do we do that, why do we do this, so there is my mother or father explaining things for reason. But some things are felt from within and from soul which are unexplainable. That is why sentiments and emotions play a very important role, and that is why I say that sentiments are more important in bhakti, and for carrying out a day-to-day activity, yes, for few things you have to be logical.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Mataji, for this. Satyam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
We get an echo, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, love for Krishna and Krishna is in my heart. So love is the strongest emotion which brings us. So as per me,
okay, yeah.
love is, yeah, love is a form of emotion which binds us with Krishna Prem. And you all know that love can happen, love can do anything. So that's very emotional, and that's what I say, that it has to be a sentimental, and it cannot be a logical. There's when we talk about love, it is over and above the logic, and it is purely sentiment, it's purely emotions. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Deepak Prabhuji, Vikas Prabhuji. Sheetal Mataji, if you want to, I think you had raised your hand, but I don't see hand raised now. But if you want, you can also speak later. Deepak Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Deepak Prabhu, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
So just like in material life, when we even remember about our father or mother, we get some emotions. Similarly, when we are into the transcendental stage, when we do the bhakti, okay, emotions are like, automatic. If we feel that tears, if we feel that, the hair standing, that ecstasy when we feel, it is actually, it proves, it shows that it is quite intense. Our emotions or bhakti is quite intense. If we are not feeling the emotions, that means there is some way that we have to still, go on.
Okay, yeah, understood. So thanks for this nice answer. Vikas Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
So
Krishna.
as Krishna also explains in Srimad Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavnas Chasmi Tatvata, that I can be known only through bhakti. And what is the position of Krishna, as you told once in the 10th chapter 41 verse, Krishna says that these whole lot of universes are just a spark of my I being the splendor. So it is impossible for anyone and everyone combined together, for to speak of the individual logic, that we can understand Krishna. And as Mahaprabhu is explaining here, that by just bhavas or the Navna Bhakti that comes, the 9 devotional process, they all explain about that it is only the emotions and the sentiments for Krishna which can take us to the level of prema to Krishna. And even if we otherwise think that by logic we can understand Krishna, that is purely wrong, because he cannot be understood, and he himself declared that also. So purely and evidentially in the bhakti, it is the emotions emotions and sentiment which work. And as Prabhuji's and Mataji's contributed, that sometimes for your very lesser time or for some particular event, there are emotions in us in the materialistic life as well. But most of the time we run behind logic just to understand the materialistic world, because the people are also commenting on the basis of logic only. So for bhakti, only pure sentiments and pure love is required, and that can make us progress in the devotional service. And otherwise in the devotional, the materialistic life, that is mixed but more inclined towards logical explanations. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Payal Mataji and very quickly Mitali Mataji. Others can lower their hands, because I don't see the other hands getting raised.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I mostly hear, whenever I hear Srila Prabhupada ji's lecture, he always says our business is to love Krishna, and there is no, he always used to say that our business is to love Krishna, and there should be no emotion, there should be no logic behind it. So my only statement will be, obviously all Prabhujis and Mataji's, they have already said it. So I'm also saying it, that there should be no logic behind it when you are, loving, saying that in devotional service, there should be no logic behind it. So just saying there should be no logic behind it. Only emotions should be there. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mitali Mataji, very quickly, quick comment.
Yeah. So I would say that in general, it depends upon the decision that we are going to take. For example, if we have to take a decision about a child going to a college to a faraway place, then we would certainly, for a better education, we would certainly go with the logic rather than sentiments. Even though it is far, we want better education. And in other cases, it depends upon the emotions as well. While I would rather say that in case of starting a spiritual path, moving towards Krishna consciousness, first you need to be convinced with the logic that this material existence is full of misery, and there is a cycle of birth and death. So you need to be convinced of the logic that you need to get out of this material cycle, and that is why you have to move out of this material existence and move towards a spiritual path. So first logic comes into picture, and once you're completely into it, then when you start following bhakti and become Krishna conscious, then obviously sentiments have a bigger role to play, and love for Krishna has bigger role to play. So that is what I would like to say. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, can I say something?
Sainath Prabhu, yes, last comment.
Sentiments in bhakti is utmost important for achieving love for Krishna. Your sentiments are reflected in your appearance also. We need to be, we need not be logical or quantitative while dealing with Krishna consciousness, but being embodied in the 3 modes of material nature, one has to be logical to survive in the mode in this world. That's all.
Understood. Yeah, no, that's thanks so much for such wide varieties of comments, and very heartening that all of you are applying yourself and coming up with nice answers. There are many nice comments in the chat box. I did went through most of this, but thank you everyone for contributing so nicely for this. And we'll see. We'll take a look at how can we how can we understand this aspect a little bit more with some examples, and hopefully all of you will agree, or we can align to that path. But all the comments were there's nothing right wrong, but most of those were on the right side. But we will see how we take it forward with some examples. So we'll talk about an incident from Ramayana, where Lord Ram, Lakshman, and Sita were in Vanvas. They had gone to the forest. Bharat returns to Ayodhya and find out that his father has, that this is what has happened. That Kaikeyi informs him that okay, now you are all the obstacles of you becoming king I have removed. Now you can become king of Ayodhya, and the throne is waiting for you. The father is not there anymore, but that's fine. You take over you become the king. And then Bharat becomes extremely disheartened, and with all his army he moved towards where Lord Ram is. And the Ram, Lakshman, and Sita, they're sitting on top of a mountain, and from a distance Lakshman could see army approaching them. And Ram asked him to go on and go at a particular height and see who is approaching, why such big army is approaching them. And then he go up and see that there is a Ayodhya flag. Ayodhya flag is there, so he understand that this is Ayodhya army. And he also see uh, Bharat at the front of this army. Then he concludes that Bharat is coming with this big army. Maybe he wants to finish the business that his mother has started. Mother has asked you to send you in forest for 14 years, but she's still left you alive, let you live in the forest. Bharat maybe wants to come and ensure that he can kill you. We can kill you, so that after 14 years also there is no threat to his kingdom. And that is what Lakshman becomes very angry, and thinking this, he becomes very angry. And then he comes back and comes down and informs Ram that this is what is probably happening. So and then he angrily speaks that Lakshman says that Bharat doesn't know that I alone can destroy that entire army along with him. What does he think of himself? How can he dare do such a thing? He has already sent you to forest for 14 years for no fault of yours, and over and above that, he's now bringing his army, he's coming himself to kill you. What does he think of himself? How dare he do this? I will alone kill this entire army, I'll punish them. But Ram is Ram says that Lakshman, you're jumping to the conclusions too early. You should not. I know Bharat loves me. Bharat's love for me is not less or more than your love for me. Maybe, oh Lakshmana, you are not very happy with the austerities that you are suffering because of me. Because you, in a rage of moment, you said that you want to come with me for next 14 years. You want to come and serve me. But maybe these austerities in last few days have taken a toll on you. And then Lord Ram says that maybe if that is the case, you're missing your palace and all the palatial comforts. Then what I will do is I'll ask Bharat to stay, and you go and you become the king. You are also elder, so there's no problem with me that even if you become the king of Ayodhya. Then Lakshman feels very sad, and he feels very ashamed of himself. What am I speaking, and what Lord Ram is understood me wrongly, and Lord Ram is not happy with me. He feels he becomes very sober. Then Bharat comes, and then there is a beautiful dialogue that happens between the two brothers. And then Bharat says that if you'll not come, if you'll not become my king, I only can accept you as my king, and you must come with me. You must become the king of Ayodhya. Otherwise, I will prepare to give up my body right here, right now. And then he sits in the meditation, and then Lord Ram goes to him smilingly, and he he lifts him, and then he says, "Oh Bharata, your love for me has won. Your love for me has won. I accept the crown and entrust it to you to rule on my behalf for the next 14 years." And then Lakshmana asks for his slippers, so that he can keep those slippers on the throne, and he can sit down and rule on behalf of Ram, so that everybody knows who is the king of Ayodhya. Though nobody should misunderstand anything. And then Ram happily gives his shoes to Bharat, and he goes back with his army. Now, after this incident, Lakshman and Ram again begins to speak. That Lakshman says that I become angry very quickly, and the Lord Ram says that uh, Lakshman says that I become very angry and become very sentimental. And then Lakshmana asks questions to Ram that are sentiments bad? Are sentiments bad? Are becoming emotions? Are emotions bad? And then Lord says something significant, that emotions, sentiments are ornaments of human being, but acting only on the basis of sentiments is not proper. Sentiments are ornaments of humans or living entities, but only acting on the basis of sentiment is not proper. So we are emotional beings. Even emotions are demonstrated by animals, birds, what to speak of humans. So we cannot live without emotions, and all of us need emotions in our life. But there are certain emotions which take us away from Krishna and take us away from dharma, our duties, prescribed duties. Now, those emotions are the ones we need to be careful about. We need to stay away from those emotions. And instead, we should choose those emotions which nourishes and develop the love for Krishna, the service attitude towards Krishna, because these emotions will take us towards Krishna. Now, sentiments are important, and bhakti, we can say at a highest level, is nothing but a sentiment. Bhakti is a emotion. Intense love for Krishna is an emotion. There's no formula that you put values into it and then you get answer as the love for Krishna. No, it's an emotion. It has to be felt inside heart, not biological heart where all our emotions are. That intense love has to be for Krishna. The strong sentiment in heart for Krishna is bhakti. And and bhakti, as the progression we see, that starts from Shraddha, the basic level of faith, to Sadhu Sangha, to Bhajana Kriya, to Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha, Ruchi, the bhava and prema. Now, all these stages is nothing but incremental faith in Krishna. Now, faith is also emotion. Incremental love for Krishna, incremental attachment with Krishna, and incremental faith in Krishna, that Krishna will take care of me, Krishna will protect. Krishna is my object of worship. I don't worship Krishna to get something else. I make Krishna as my object for my bhakti. So sentiments are extremely important, and bhakti is nothing but a incremental sentiment, intense sentiment for Krishna at one level. However, sentimentality is something that is not right, and that we need to be careful against. Sentimentality, what does that mean? Sentimentality is acting purely on the basis of emotions without sufficient reasoning. Now, sentimentality, even in forget bhakti, but we act sentimentally in our material life also. Now, all the purchasing decisions we do, not always are rational in their nature. The sari that we buy, the costly watch that we buy, the beautiful necklace that we purchase, are all not rationally required by us. Most of these decisions are there. A lot of emotions are involved in those purchases that we do on a day-to-day basis. In malls, people walk in and they end up buying so many things which they don't need, because of the involvement of emotion. So emotions are there everywhere. However, we need to guide those emotions by reasons, by logic. And if that does not happen, then we land up in problem. So what is the example? Example can be, sometimes we may go in front of Krishna. We visit temple Radha Ras Bihari ji, Radha Madhav ji, wherever, Radha Sham Sundar, wherever we go in front of Krishna, we stand in front of Krishna, and in the background the kirtan is going on, and we close our eyes, and suddenly tear comes in our eyes. Our eyes are filled with tears, and then we suddenly may think that, oh, uh, become a pure devotee now, because this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, that those who are in advanced stages of devotion, they may experience this kind of symptoms at a bodily level also. So my and before my eyes water, my I may feel intense intense love for Krishna, and sometimes it may happen, and we may actually start thinking that, oh, I've advanced now. I'm no more an amateur devotee. I've become advanced devotee. I've become a senior devotee now. I uh, I think I'm crossing the paths hurdles very fast. I probably must have applied myself very well to the process of bhakti, all the instructions given by Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So I think I'm advancing in bhakti, and that's good. Next day, again, same time, same place, we go, and again we stand in front of Lord, and the same similar aarti is going on, kirtan is going on, same Lord is there with probably different color dress, garland is there, sense is there, everything is same. The kirtan is going on, aarti is going on, people are around me are similar. I'm standing exactly at the same position where I was standing yesterday, but nothing happens. Everything is same, but nothing happens. I don't get the experience which I got yesterday. Then what am I doing? I'm looking at my watch, thinking, when will this get over? I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to meet so and so, I have to call so and so, I need to send these messages. Some of this could be material, some of this could be spiritual seva as well, part of spiritual seva as well, but I'm not feeling what I felt yesterday. Now what happened between yesterday and today? Yesterday, I when eyes my throat choked and my eyes were watering, I tears came on my eyes. I thought I've become advanced devotee. In 24 hours, what happened? I'm not able to repeat this again. So um so what will I do yesterday and today? Yesterday, when I thought that I am becoming pure devotee, I will I will have great ability to perform my sadhana. With great enthusiasm, I will chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. With great enthusiasm, I will read Bhagavad Gita. I'll read Bhagavatam. I will speak with devotees. I'll go and meet devotees. Now, because I'm feeling good about my sadhana. Second day, it's not happening. The tears doesn't come in my eyes. Throat is not choking. I'm not feeling ecstasy while kirtan. The same kirtan is going on. Everything is same, but it's something wrong with me. And that day, my sadhana is bad. I just try to finish somehow my rounds. Without any attentive, my entire chanting is bad. Inattentive chanting. I barely able to find time to read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. And whenever devotees call, I tell them I'll call you later. I'm very busy. And so So from in 24 hours, the things have turned upside down. Then if I only let my emotions drive my bhakti, then on day one I will do great bhakti, I will be a great devotee. On day two I will be a horrible devotee, I'll be a horrible devotee. I'll be a, and if day two becomes day three as well, and day four, day five, I may stop being a devotee because then this something is wrong in this case. Now, what is wrong here is if we let only emotions decide our actions, then we become inconsistent in our sadhana and inconsistent in our in anything that we do. Ideally, our actions should be guided by reasons and supported by emotions. How? Let's see this. So when we are guided by reasoning, then we perform actions even when sometimes we don't feel like doing it, because we subordinate our feelings to our intelligence. Now, this is very important and important aspect, important thing to remember and do, somehow imbibe it in our day-to-day functioning. That our our intelligence should be superior. We see the chariot analogy that our intelligence is the chariot driver and mind is the reins and the horses are the senses, the five senses. Now intelligence must control the reins, the mind and the horses both. Then only the passenger, the soul, can reach its destination, his destination. But when we are and when we are guided by reason, then we will perform actions even we don't our performance of action does not will not depend on our feelings. Commitment means going beyond our feelings. Commitment means going beyond our feelings. So example is a small baby cries in the middle of night, and the mother might have been working mother, must have spent 8 9 hours in office, must be very tired, and must be in fast asleep at that time. But the moment baby wakes up and starts crying, mother gets up and does whatever is required to be done to take care of the baby, so that she can put her baby to sleep, and then she will go back to sleep. Now, does she always feel great about doing it? Sometimes yes, sometimes may not. The day she's very tired, even she will struggle to wake up in the middle of night and do what is necessary to be done. However, she will still do it. She will still do it because she's committed to doing it. She has a better, higher purpose than in this. Her purpose, if her purpose is only to take rest, to look for herself, then it doesn't logically make sense for her to get up in the middle of night and do what is necessary to be done to make the baby quiet. If because if purpose is to only look for one's own comfort, one's own happiness, then taking care of baby in the middle of night is an illogical thing. However, uh, we subordinate our feelings to our purpose, to our responsibility, and she will get up. So this is what commitment means. Commitment means I'm ready to ignore my feelings at times to take care of my purpose or responsibility. श्रुति स्मृति पुराणादि पंचरात्र की विधिन विना एकांत की हरेर भक्ति उत्पात एव कल्पते. When bhakti is done without scriptural guidance, shruti and smriti and puranadi, pancharatra ki vidhim vina, pancharatra ki vidhi are the vidhis described how Lord should be worshipped, what ingredients to be used, what process to be followed, what purification one should bring. And Shruti and Smriti are Puranas, are scriptures, the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and Itihasas, Mahabharata, Ramayana. So all these things, if without this, if somebody is trying to perform bhakti, without guidance of scriptures, when somebody is trying to perform bhakti, एकांतिकी हरेर भक्ति, अकेले कोई भक्ति करने की कोशिश कर रहा है तो वो उत्पात एवं समाज में, सोसाइटी में creates disturbance in the society. Because we need scriptural guidance, we need our bhakti to be directed through scriptures. It cannot remain undirected, and if it is undirected, it can cause disturbance in the society, havoc in the society. and uh, and hence any path of bhakti, it needs to have scriptural guidance, it needs to have basis, the foundation, it needs to be spoken in parampara, and the parampara also comes from somebody who has authority to speak. Lord Brahma has authority to speak. Vyasdev is literally incarnation of Lord Krishna. He has authority to speak. When he speaks and people follow that guidance, then that is authentic process, authentic authentic sampradaya, and anyone can get connected to that sampradaya and follow the process faithfully will get benefited. So reason and emotion are on the path of sadhana bhakti go together. I'll say they go together, should go together everywhere. Let reason direct emotions. It means, okay, someday I feel ecstatic when I am chanting, and other day I get bored while chanting. But nevertheless, if my intelligence is in control, I will force myself to chant on both the days because that is necessary. And while doing that, I will try to develop as much feelings as possible, because I will show I'll when my intelligence is in control, I will be aware of my responsibility and my commitment to Krishna. And I will chant because of that commitment, because of that responsibility, because of that commitment I have given to my guru, my my guide, that I will chant 16 rounds no matter what happens. And so I will be committed. I have taken personal responsibility for doing japa. So even though I am feeling bored while chanting, I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. I'll change my position. I'll go and sit in front of DT. I'll sit in front of the beautiful picture that I like of Krishna most. I will sit with devotees who love to chant. I'll go to temple and chant along with the devotees after Mangalarti, so that seeing their enthusiasm, I feel enthusiastic for chanting, and eventually I improve my chanting. I feel on a consistent basis, I feel enthusiastic for my chanting. But I will nevertheless chant. If I'm only guided by emotions, then the day I'm feeling great about chanting, I will chant 50 rounds. And the day I'm not feeling great, I'll not chant only. I'll not chant one round, maybe 3 rounds. Now, this kind of a bhakti is a very unsteady bhakti, is not is a bhakti without commitment, and that cannot last for too long. That kind of a disturbed, agitated bhakti cannot go on for too long. And that is the reason why we need guidance of scriptures, guidance, the reasons. Scripture provide us the reasons, and those reasons are important for us to move forward in the bhakti. So what happens when one aspect is more than other? Reason, too much reason. If we have too much reason but no emotions, can there be any such situation? Yes. The Mayavadis at times, Mayavadi sannyasis are also scholars. They believers in Vedas, but they may memorize all 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. They may speak elaborately on the topic of Bhagavad Gita, on the different verses or whatever has been spoken by Lord Krishna. They can talk very expertly on Bhagavad Gita, but they will not have faith that Krishna existed. They will even doubt Krishna's existence. Now, the whole Bhagavad Gita is about devotion to Lord Krishna. Janati Purushottama. That Purushottama, one has to know who is that Purushottama. That one who knows Krishna is that Purushottama, then they should surrender to Krishna and worship him with all their heart. No, that is the mood of Bhagavad Gita. That is why the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken, so that one can surrender to Krishna and start worshipping him with all their heart, with their mind and intelligence, surrender to Krishna. Now, when one doesn't even believe in Krishna's existence, but they remember the entire Bhagavad Gita and they speak very expertly on Bhagavad Gita, there, how should we understand that? Now, they may have knowledge, they may have intelligence, they can give a lot of analysis, but there is no emotion, no attraction towards Krishna. So all their endeavors are useless. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter that moghasha moha karmano, that all their efforts are wasted, all their endeavors are lost, because they don't have basic faith, basic emotion towards, basic attraction towards Krishna. They have no submissive spirit towards Krishna. So even if they happen to be very intelligent, they cannot make any progress in developing love and service attitude towards Krishna. So their life becomes a failure. All their efforts are lost. They have to become a devotee. They cannot become a devotee of Lord Krishna. So they cannot attain Krishna. And so both emotion and reason needs to go together like track, like a railway track. Both are required. Both need to go forward in straight line, and they both need to be together. We will move. When that happens, then we will move ahead in our bhakti. If one of them is more as compared to the other, it can lead to problems. These are the some of the problems. The materialist, we need to be attached to Krishna. We need to be detached from Maya. That is the goal of a devotee. But when we are, that's not always the case. At times we are detached from Krishna and we are attached to Maya. So those are materialist people. We call them materialists or karmis. They are detached from Krishna. They are attached to Maya. Then there are impersonalists who are detached from Krishna and detached from Maya also. They're detached from both. Sahajiyas are attached to Krishna, but they are also attached to Maya. And devotees who are attached to Krishna, they are detached from Maya. So the devotees have right combination of what the emotion and the reason is. Their actions are guided by reasons, and they all want to experience emotions in bhakti. Now this is image of a brain. Brain is a picture of a brain taken, and this brain belongs to a wife of a brain surgeon who is upset with her husband. Now the brain surgeon's wife is upset with him, and brain surgeon is trying to find out why she is upset with me, and he's performing all scans, and doing all x-rays, sonography, scanning on her wife, on his wife's brain, so that he can find out the reason why she's upset. Now this is all reason, no emotion. Now second example is, you show a rose flower to a botanical expert, and then he start analyzing this flower. This is the parts of the flower. This is sepal, this is petal, this is pedicle, this is this is stem, this is arranged, this is how the flower is arranged, this is a stigma, this is style, this is ovary, and these are different parts. This is how a flower can be dissected and analyzed. And after that, all this analysis, if you ask that person, is flower beautiful, then he will say that's your problem. This is what the analysis of the flower is. If you think this is beautiful, then that is your problem. I don't know. So again, no only reason, no emotion does not lead to any good experience. So we need both. We need both to go parallelly. So this verse explains symptoms of ecstasy experienced by a pure devotee in advanced stages of bhakti. As one progresses in bhakti, one may have such experiences, and it's not necessarily that when we will get these experiences. Krishna is free. Krishna is supremely independent. We have our own small independence, but Krishna has supreme independence, and he can give this experience to anybody he desires to. Uh, so even if we are new devotee, we might sometimes experience this, that by chanting, eyes are watering. And I remember some Krishna's pastime, and my heart gets become filled with emotions, and tears start rolling from my eyes. There's a famous story of South Indian Brahmana and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This illiterate Brahmana was given order by his guru to read Bhagavad Gita every day. And he was illiterate, so he would not progress much. He will just look at the picture of Lord Krishna driving chariot of Arjuna, and just by seeing this picture, he would start crying. Now he was illiterate, so obviously he was not understanding the verses and their meanings. And everybody used to make fun of him. But when Lord Chaitanya saw him, he inquired that what is the reason why you're crying? And then he explains him that the reason he says my Guru Maharaj is so merciful, but he gave me order to read Bhagavad Gita so that I can become nice devotee of Lord Krishna. But unfortunately, I'm illiterate. I cannot read much. And but then Mahaprabhu says, then why? What is the reason why you're crying? Then he says, whenever I see Lord Krishna, the Lord of this universe, the Lord controller, owner, and creator, destroyer of this whole universe, is sitting at a chariot and doing duty of a chariot driver for the pleasure of his devotee, my heart gets filled with emotions and I start crying. I can't see anything beyond this. And my Lord is so merciful. Why my Lord has to be so merciful to his devotee? And then he does so much for his devotees, and I in return I'm not able to do anything for him. And by imagining how merciful he is, how great he is, how kind he is, how loving Krishna is, and in return what am I offering him? I'm not even able to read Bhagavad Gita. And with that thoughts only, my hearts get filled with emotions and I start crying. I therefore I am not able to read anything in this book. I have not understood this book, but I'm so unfortunate. I'm not even able to progress beyond the cover page. That is my position. That's how unfortunate I am. I'm not even able to carry out the order of my Guru Maharaj. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces that Brahmana, saying that you have understood Bhagavad Gita perfectly, and you don't need anything, any other knowledge. So the emotions are important. Emotions are also important, but they need to be guided by the reason. So when at our stage, if one may get this experience, and Krishna is free to give that experience to anyone and everyone as per his desire. But when we get such experience, we should understand that this is possible due to Krishna's mercy. It is not because of our endeavor. Had it been possible by our endeavor, every day we should be able to repeat it. What we can do, what is in our control, there should be predictability and repeatability for that. We every day we get up in the morning and brush our teeth. There is predictability. We will probably do it for the next few years of our life. We can say that today also. And repeatability, we do it every day. Actually, we just don't predict it, but we actually do it. So that aspect will be applicable to such experiences, but that is not possible. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that machitta sarva durgani mat prasadan tarishyati. By my grace you will cross over all the durgas are all the difficulties in your life. You will cross over them by my grace. So none of our achievements are purely our achievements. They are mercy. They are possible only because of the mercy that we get from Krishna. Now we may get this mercy, and then what should we do? What should be our attitude towards Krishna? We need to express our gratitude for giving that mercy to us. Now we are not qualified. We are not. We should be convinced of the fact that we are not qualified to even chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are not qualified to even perform bhakti, even worship Radha Krishna. We are not qualified enough even to worship Gaur Nitai. But because Krishna has he is more merciful. Mahavadanyaya Krishna Mahaprabhu is more merciful. They are engaging me in their service, even though I am not qualified, even though I'm not pure enough, even though I have all the difficulties, all my problems, and at my end. Despite of that, they are engaging me in devotional service. So they are not only engaging me in devotional service, they are giving me glimpses of spiritual happiness that I might enjoy when I become a pure devotee. So with this knowledge, we should reciprocate with Krishna and become more committed in our bhakti. When we get a spiritual experience, we were in Sudip Prabhu's home, and we experienced beautiful kirtan, ecstatic kirtan for maybe more than 1 hour there was kirtan going on. And we yesterday, Yadubara Prabhuji, his kirtan was also more ecstatic, and we thought yesterday, day before yesterday, we had great kirtan, and yesterday we had even greater kirtan. So we are able to experience these glimpses of spiritual happiness because of the mercy of the devotee, because of the potency of the devotees, not by our own potencies, not by our own capabilities. So we should always be thankful to the devotees, thankful to Krishna. And what as a next step, we should become more committed in our devotional service. We don't need to put too much emphasis on how many experiences that how many spiritual experiences I'm getting in my last week, in my last month. I write down, I publish them on Facebook, publish them on Twitter, and then I get hundreds and thousands of likes. That is a testimony of the fact that I'm becoming a pure devotee. No, that is not the case. That is not what we should be doing. That is not what Prabhupada did. Now, Prabhupada used to conceal his emotions towards Krishna, because the people around him were not at the same level where they can understand anything like this. So he was focused on giving basic philosophy. You are not this body, you are spirit soul. You are part and parcel of Krishna. Your only job is to love and serve Krishna. Get engaged in serving Krishna. Devote one lifetime to Krishna, and Krishna will take back to you, take back you back to his abode, back to his home. Prabhupada was focused only on giving this fundamental philosophy, and not so much focus on his spiritual ecstasies, on his spiritual experiences, which nevertheless came out in public also, and on many occasions. But and a lot of his, a lot of his lot of his initiated devotees, his disciples, describes them, and on many occasions it had happened. But Prabhupada was quick to conceal his emotions towards Krishna. He would do that only in his when he's alone, but otherwise he would conceal. He would not make a show of his emotions towards Lord Krishna. And as a devotees, we need to learn from that. It is not for us to show how great we are. It's so. Does it mean we should not discuss? Of course, we should discuss it only with our senior devotees who are guiding us, and they will guide you to become more committed to bhakti. They will tell you to become more. Now, since Krishna has given you this experience, he's been merciful to you. Now you become more serious in Krishna consciousness. If you're chanting 8 rounds, start chanting 16 rounds. If you miss last few yatras, now start coming to every yatra. Become more sincere, become more committed, take up more services, you give more time to Krishna consciousness, and so on and so forth. So that is how we implement, we apply, we bring this principle to the application in our devotional life. Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, gives 9 symptoms which can be understood, explained by somebody who is feeling a lot of ecstasy for Krishna, who has a lot of love for Krishna, what that person will do. Now, Rupa Goswami does not go into the discussion on elaborate discussion on what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described, that Nayanam Galadashrudharaya. Now, he's not bringing out those points. He's saying, now those are external bodily symptoms that will be visible if one has intense love for Krishna in one's heart. However, uh, that is not the position that you will be in 24 hours. So what you will do, that could be the ecstasy, those moment of ecstasy that might be experienced for few moments in a day. But for rest of the 23 hours and 50 minutes, you should be doing these 9 things. That devotee who has so much love for Krishna will not sleep for 10 hours in a day. He will not, he will, so what he will do, Rupa Goswami has explained here. He will first is anxious to utilize time in service of Lord. When you have intense love for Krishna, you will not want to do anything other than serving Krishna. So all your time belongs to Krishna. Second, he always reserved and preservant. He will not want to make a show of his love for Krishna. I have so much love for Krishna. See, I am pure devotee. See, I am advanced devotee. All of you should start paying obeisances to me. You should start respecting me. Might have joined the movement later, but I'm more advanced than you. So you should all start listening to me. I should be sitting on the Vyasasan. I should be talking and you should all be hearing. You should not talk in front of me. That is not what a pure devotee will do. A pure devotee, the more intense the love, more reserved he will become, more preservant he will become. Always, third is always detached from material attraction. Now, the Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakar Jethe Krishna Tethe Nahi Maya Adhikar. Krishna Surya Sama, where there is sun, there cannot be any darkness. So similarly, when there is attraction and intense love for Krishna, there cannot be any place for material attraction, sensual attractions, attraction towards wealth, attraction towards opulence, bhogeshwarya prasaktanam. There should be no desires for bhoga or aishwarya, both. So one will be detached from these attractions. Fourth, one does not long for respect for his activities. Now, this is very difficult to do. It's very simple English that one does not long to get respect. Respect is so subtle, and when you are not given the respect, you feel insulted, and you become very angry, and all your devotional endeavors go waste. So a devotee, pure devotee, he will not long to get any respect for his activity. When the discussion, Prabodhananda Saraswati and Prakashananda Saraswati and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they met, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat at a very, very lower place, and those were Varanasi Brahmanas. They were sitting at a higher place, but Prakashananda Saraswati understood Mahaprabhu. By looking at Mahaprabhu, he understood that him to be a great personality. So he went to him and he brought him and gave him a respectable seat. But Mahaprabhu never considered himself to be a respectable person. So he used to take very lowly position, very submissive, very simple, humble position he used to take. Fifth is always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. Again, big example of this is Prabhupada. Despite of going through all the difficulties, he never lost hope. He kept trying. He was not fearful. He was only worry is the only worry he had is that how best he can serve Krishna in the given condition. He was not worried about why Krishna is giving him, making him live in horrible conditions. Some of the devotees, Narottam Prabhu said, explained that that Prabhupada said that Prabhupada, they started telling that Prabhupada, your lectures, we have recorded your lectures from so and so date, somewhere in 1966 onwards, but prior to that we don't have much information what you did for last 1 year. And then Prabhupada said, if you know what I did, how I was in last 1 year, you will die, you will not be able to survive. And so he went through intense miseries at a physical level, but his faith in Krishna was not shaken. His desire to serve Krishna was not changed, and that's what he was fixed in. And he was always believing that Krishna will bestow his mercy. This is the whatever situation he was in physically, he considered that as mercy of Krishna. Sixth is always eager to serve Krishna faithfully. Seventh, very much attached to chanting of holy name. How many rounds we all chant? We 16 rounds we chant. How many times we chant? 17th round, or maybe on Ekadashi or on special days we chant 17, 18, 25 rounds. But pure devotee has got no other business other than chanting of holy name. That is his absorption for 24 hours. Always eager to describe transcendental qualities of Lord. The qualities, the form, the qualities, the the activities, and so much. He's always ready, eager to talk about Lord, not about himself, talk about Lord. And a ninth is very pleased to live in a place where Lord's pastimes have taken place, like Mathura and Vrindavan. So if we have, so by observing these 9 qualities demonstrated by people, we should know that they are advanced in devotional service. We don't want to know how many times in a month your eyes you have tears in your eyes. Now that's not a criteria to decide who is advanced in devotional service. If these 9 points are physically verifiable, but the tears in eyes I can fake. I can, put glycerin in my eyes, and just before the arti begins, and then tears will start rolling from my eyes as the arti will progress, and I suddenly become can be considered as a pure devotee of Lord. But when my bottle of glycerin gets over, I become a normal or ordinary or third grade devotee of Lord. That's not what is expected. One who has pure devotion, pure love for Krishna, intense love for Krishna in his heart, will be able to demonstrate all the 9 qualities that are described here. And simply by observing this, who is giving his 100% time to Krishna, who is detached from material attraction, who is able to control their material desires better, who is not longing for respect but giving all respect, who is who has intense faith on Krishna, that whatever position I'm in, Krishna is my best well-wisher. Krishna is my he will protect me. He is my well-wisher, and he does not, that faith does not go no matter how good or bad that situation of this person gets into, like Prahlad Maharaj. So how looking at somebody's looking how eager somebody is to serve Krishna and devotees, his mission, their mission, their eagerness show how much love they have for Krishna, how much one is attached to the chanting of holy name. That is indication. So these are externally observable things or qualities in people. Looking at those, we should be able to conclude to us ourselves that such a so and so person is more advanced than me or more advanced in Krishna consciousness. So if I have any desire to advance in Krishna consciousness, I should associate with such persons who demonstrate these qualities. Eventually, I should also have a desire to develop these qualities for myself. And again, I'm not judging myself. Others should judge me. My seniors should judge me. And if when I'm known what I need to, this is what I need to do. So I don't need to go and ask my seniors, am I progressing in Krishna consciousness? How fast how well I have done. I can judge myself against these 9 qualities, and when we find ourselves wanting or deficient in that I'm not able to utilize all my time in serving Krishna. I enjoy when I'm respected. I still have a lot of attraction for bhog and aishwarya. Want to enjoy this, that ice cream, that pizza. Even though it's without onion garlic, I have a lot of attraction for that. Like to wear that dress. I like to wear the jewelry. I like to buy this wonderful phone, iPhone 14 or 15, whatever it is. When it comes to car, I want BMW. I like Mercs. And when it comes to home, I need air conditioned homes only. I have attachment to the material attraction. I am not detached. I can't live under a tree and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We're not there. So we're not there yet. So we have a long way to go, but we are on the right path and we're in the right direction. So every step we take, we move towards Krishna. We go closer to Krishna, and that should give us assurance that we should now. It's up to us how intense, how we become in progressing on this path, how fast we wish to walk. The path is same, the right path is right, all the facilities are available, but it will depend on our intensity, our own desire, how fast I want to progress. And that is up to us to decide and actually take guidance from devotees wherever we get stuck. We'll go to the next verse. Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravrusha shunyaitam jagata sarvam govinda virahena me. Govinda Virahename is separation from my Lord, and Shunya itam jagata sarvam. The whole world becomes shunya, or like a void. And what are the other condition described? Yuga itam nimishena. When I blink my eyes, I feel when I blink my eyes, I'm not able to see my Lord. I'm not able to see Krishna during that time. And I that period of time, which is could be a less than a second, I feel that time like a millennium. Yuga is like a 12 years period, and because of this separation, I start the tears again tears start rolling, falling like torrents of rain. I start crying like like as if the torrents of rain is flowing from my eyes because of this separation from Krishna. And during that time, I feel the world to be whole, world to be void, because I experience viraha from my Govinda. Viraha is a separation. The translation, my Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment to be a great millennium. Tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. This is mood of bhava bhakti, or this is where gopis were in the Vrindavan. The gopis, used to remember Krishna in that mood. And now let's try to understand this verse and the next, which is Radharani's expression of heart. So, so Govinda Virahaname. Now, Viraha is something that is separation. Viraha means separation, and but Krishna is present in our heart as Paramatma. Always, Krishna is always present in our heart as Paramatma. But this is a fact. But we have not realized this fact. We have not realized Krishna's presence yet. Now, we have not yet invoked his presence. We theoretically know that Krishna is present in our heart, but we cannot experience his presence in our heart. We still have not taken darshan. We're still not aware enough aware about his presence. So for us, he's absent. He is as good as absent. And by training that we undertake of in the Krishna consciousness process of remembering Krishna, cultivating constant remembrance of Krishna, as it was advised in Bhagavad Gita as well, we are training ourselves to feel his presence 24/7 by becoming conscious of him, by chanting his holy name, by worshipping his deities, by hearing about him, by looking at his picture, by taking darshan, by remembering his pastimes, by associating with devotees who speak about Krishna. We want to feel presence. We want to feel his presence. Now, by consistent practice, we invoke his remembrance and we invoke his presence inside us. So we feel his presence in his absence. Now that is the process of Krishna consciousness sadhana. Our sadhana we perform every day. We morning we get up and we chant 16 rounds. We are supposed to chant 16 rounds. Prabhupada said minimum 16 rounds we should chant. Minimum 16 attentive rounds we should chant. And by this, we should invoke Krishna's remembrance throughout the day. We should only eat food which is offered to Krishna. So whatever we eat, we should remember Krishna. Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave. When we remember the Krishna, this Govinda and Namo, his name, and Brahmanas who are too dear to him, we cultivate remembrance. So we may eat 3 times 4 times in a day, and every time we should remember Krishna. And when we come back home, we perform kirtan in front of Lord's deity. We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we sing kirtan, and we read books which describes his pastimes. And again, what we are trying to do, we invoking his remembrance. By invoking his remembrance, we are trying to feel his presence in his absence. He is absent for us. because he's present for gopis. Gopis can't forget him, but we can't remember Krishna. Our problem is opposite, and hence we created this process of sadhana bhakti, through which, using which we can cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna. And this is how we want to remember Krishna in his separation, in his absence, which is otherwise absent. So this verse explains the emotion during love in separation. Now we miss the most what we value the most. Shunyaitam jagata sarva govinda virehename. So Krishna in his personal form is not available to us. And we also don't have any love for Krishna. But Krishna has a value for us due to the world that he has provided to us to live and enjoy. Now, this is the reality of us. We value Krishna. What is the thing that we value most in us? In If all of us are honest enough, we will say we value ourselves the most. And what do we all have? We have this beautiful body. We have this, whatever the body, that physical body that we have, our mind, our intelligence, our wealth, our education, our degrees, our opulence, our relatives, our near ones, our spouses, our children, our parents, everything to do with me is important to me. That is what we value most. And this is where we spend all our life, in building this, maintaining this, creating this. I love our home. I love my home. I love my car. I love my dog. I may love my, whatever I possess. I may love my job, whatever. So me, myself is where our valuations are. These are the things which truly we value. Anything going wrong with any of these things, um, we value me, myself, and everything related to this the most. And if time permits, I value God. I value God as a whole in concept. Then eventually I may come to know by mercy of devotee that Krishna is that God. And then I may have started worshipping Krishna, may have started chanting his holy name in the recent past. And I may start valuing Krishna also. However, my valuation is first me, myself, and then Krishna. And we may have some our love for country, our love for society, our community, and we must be fighting battle glove, hate corruption, um, and we may be taking up those issues, social justice, whatever, birds conservation, animal conservation, against animal killing, against cleanliness. I may have many things I may value, and after me, myself, I may devote my time, attention, and energy to those things. Taking care of poor, feeding animals, giving them water in the hot summer season, and so on, so much. And along with all that, I may have some time and energy left for Krishna also. Now, which means our value for ourselves is far greater than what we value Krishna, our value for Krishna. And anything going wrong with me, myself, and my possessions will mean that my value for Krishna becomes zero, because I value Krishna as long as me, myself, and my possessions are intact. The moment any of those get shaken, my love for Krishna will also become empty very quickly. Devotees love Krishna so much that they consider world as valueless or shunya if it is without Krishna. However, generally people value their world so much that they will consider Krishna to be shunya if their world is shaken up, if their world is destroyed for some reason. So our position is the reverse. So we can't copy the gopis. We can't copy the people in Vraja Bhumi. We'll understand this again with the help of a small story. Before Kurukshetra war began, Duryodhan and Arjun both went to meet Krishna seeking alliance. Now Krishna met both of them. He saw Arjuna first, so he asked Arjuna, "What do you want?" Uh, and Duryodhana became upset because he had come first, and all that is there. But in general, Arjuna says, "Oh, Krishna." Krishna says, declared before they both start asking things, that I will not fight. You both are my relatives, so I don't want to fight in this battle. But I will, on one hand, I offer myself as an advisor. I will be there as an advisor. But on another hand, I have my Narayani Sena, which is millions of people, very, very formidable army of mine. Dwarkadish, I am Dwarkadish, I am king of Dwarka. So my Sena you can take, or me, you can choose. You can choose any one of these, me or my Narayani Sena. You can choose only one thing. And Arjuna immediately opts for Krishna without thinking, without blinking his eye. He says, Keshava, you be on our side. We don't need anything else. You just be there with us. And Duryodhana becomes jubilant, and Duryodhana becomes extremely happy with hearing this. And in his heart, he's saying how foolish this Arjuna is. What kind of a stupid person this Arjuna is. Completely illogical decision he has taken. He's gone completely with emotion. How can you be such fool? What is the use of this Krishna who is not even going to fight? Even if he were to fight, he alone, what is his use? What is his useless? So, and at least in comparison with the Narayani Sena, which is of crores of people that he's ready to offer, how foolish my brother is what Duryodhana is saying, thinking in his mind. And but externally he says, okay, Arjuna, what do I have left with? You already made the choice, so I will take whatever is left over for me. And he's in his mind, he's smiling, he's very happy. And he go back and tells to everyone that, oh, Arjuna was so foolish. He asked for Krishna, and I got Narayani Sena, so many crowd of people, so many formidable warriors. So we are now going to be victorious in this war. And Bhishma becomes very upset. He says, "You are a fool. You don't understand. What is the use of Narayani Sena without Narayan? Wherever there is Narayan, the victory is going to be there on that side. Why can't you get this simple point?" But we are all Duryodhanas in our own sense. We may theoretically understand this point, but when we practice, when we act in the material world, we often forget this point. And we all make choices like Duryodhan does. And we don't always choose Krishna. We always, sometimes, most of the times, we end up choosing Maya. Sometimes when we take guidance from devotees, we are able to choose Krishna over Maya. But otherwise, most of us act and behave like Duryodhana. So what did Krishna do? He, despite of not fighting battle, all important fights were won due to Krishna's interference. Arjuna could fight the war because of Krishna's presence. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, removes his doubt, and then Arjuna fought war as a devotional service for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Now, this is how Krishna can act in our life as well. How we can apply this principle of love in separation in our life. At our current stage, we don't have any love for Krishna. And so what can we do? We should associate with those devotees who are advanced than us in devotional subject matters, and who are advanced, who can show some of those or any of those 9 symptoms of advancement in the bhakti that Rupa Goswami described. So I'll be sending these slides to everyone. Please save this document. It's very useful. And so that will tell us who is advanced. And we when we compare ourselves with them, as we did a little exercise, we know that we are not advanced in those aspects. We are not able to devote all of our time for Krishna service. We are not always eager to speak about Krishna. We sometimes become more eager to speak about cricket, Bollywood, falling stock market, Ukraine Russia war. Now these are not topics related with Krishna consciousness, but we sometimes get very engrossed in discussing those. Which credit card is more attractive, which sale is more beneficial, which car is be giving better mileage, and these are the topics of our interest. This which recipe is doing is a better recipe than that, and so forth. Which jeweler is giving more discount, which sari shop is offering more discount, so on and so forth. So our matters of interest are other than Krishna, and we can easily find out how where we are lacking, why we are lacking and then we should always look for others who are advanced on any of those things, and we should associate with them. We should associate with them who are advanced than us. By that association, their desires, their liking and desires for bhakti, the matters of devotional service, we will purchase those desires. Those will become our desire. So if we associate with someone who is very good at chanting, who loves to chant all the time, who loves to sing in kirtans all the time, who can sing in kirtan for hours, by associating with such person, we will develop taste for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and singing in kirtan, chanting in with beads. These are different types of chanting, but basic attraction, once that is invoked, we can develop our chanting by associating with somebody who likes to chant. The deity worship, kirtan, speaking about Krishna, cooking for Krishna, making garlands for Krishna. There are so many activities in bhakti that can be done, and that can be done by associating. We can develop attraction for doing those things by associating with those who already have develop liking for those things. And that should not be very difficult for us to observe who is better than us in the subject matter of bhakti than us. And when we figure it out, obviously those are devotees, advanced guiding devotees, who have those qualities. We should associate with them, and while chanting with them, by serving with them, we get that attraction transferred to ourselves. And then we should cultivate this, we should harness it, and we should develop it. So associating, we will also develop attraction towards these activities in the devotional areas, and that's how we will progress in bhakti. That is how we will grow in bhakti. The last point in this is the wind of separation. It's often compared with separation from devotees, separation from Krishna, separation from devotees, separation from devotional activities, is like a wind. When Krishna is not there, gopis love for Krishna is like forest fire, and which increases its intensity when then there is a wind of separation. So when Krishna is in front of gopis, they have love for Krishna, and that gets manifested in the various pastimes they enjoy with Krishna. They perform for Krishna's pleasure. But when Krishna is not present, now their love is the quantity of their love is so much that is compared to a forest fire. Now what happens when there is a forest fire, and if there is a wind, the fire increases by wind. The wind act like a fuel to the fire. However, in comparison to that, our fire for Krishna is like a candle fire, or a panti, or we call it a very small lamp. Now, any small blow of wind of separation from Krishna, separation from devotees, separation from performing bhakti, any wind of separation can extinguish our candle fire very easily. So what fire that increases intensity of love for gopis can act as a can act completely opposite way for us. Our fire, our desire to love and serve Krishna only may get extinguished by the wind of separation. So wind of separation means staying away from Krishna, staying away from devotees, staying away from the performance of bhakti. If you are not joining japa for too many days, and if you don't even feel bad about it, that is wind of separation. If we have not met devotees for 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 5 weeks, and we feel okay about it, we can understand that the candle fire, whatever that was there, that is on the verge of getting extinguished, or it is already extinguished. If we don't visit temple, don't take darshan of Lord, don't offer our prayers to him, don't pay obeisances to him, and we feel okay about it, we justify it, why we are not, why we should not have anyway gone, then the wind of separation from Krishna is affecting us. uh, and we should be worried about it. We should be worried about, because then that small fire that we had, if that prolong, that separation prolong, that fire only will get exhausted, will get extinguished. Then we may have to again depend on the mercy from devotees who will come searching for us again. Once again, they will once again engage us in devotional service, and that is how our that candle fire will get rekindled. But if we allow ourselves to remain separated from Krishna for too long, uh, our bhakti will just get extinguished very quickly without our knowledge, and we will fall back into our old way of life, and will not even realize that we are missing something. So value your devotee association, value your bhakti, value Krishna, value devotees in your life, and value the process of devotional service given by Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And whatever you value, you will miss it. You should start missing on I last 10 दिन हो गए मैंने एक किसी डिवोटी से बात नहीं किया, 10 दिन हो गए मैंने किसी डिवोटी को नहीं मिला, more than 10 days have passed, I have not even visited temple, not paid obeisances to Krishna, I have not seen devotees, not participated in kirtan. So how I should feel bad about it. Now there could be material world can put us in a situation where we will actually genuinely not been able to do it, but nothing can stop you from feeling bad about it. If you're not feeling even bad about it, which means that fire is become shaky, is probably on the verge of getting extinguished, and then that will be the end of bhakti for us, at least in this lifetime, unless and until some new devotees remember us and they call us, oh, where were you, where have you been for so long, you've not been in touch, not keeping in touch, and then we by mercy of devotees start getting associated with those devotees again and rekindle the fire, then it's a different story. But again, with that fire needs protection. It is still not become forest fire. Once it become forest fire, we don't have to worry about it. Just like gopis, their love for Krishna is like forest fire. The more the separation, the more the intense they love the experience. Now at our stage we can't understand this. At our stage we may not even experience this kind of love for our own children or our own parent, our own spouse. So all that is spoken in the Bollywood film is nonsense. This love we can't even understand, can't even imagine, but it is there. Now we can get glimpses of it, but it is there in its full potency, that is available. And that is accessible, that is made accessible to us by simple process of chanting and performing devotional service. We'll see this last verse very quickly, and then we'll go to the question answer. Ashlishya va padaratam pinishtumam adarshanan marata marmahatam karotvam yatha tathava vidhatu lampato mat prananathastu sa eva naparaha. Very easy to understand verse, but this is heart of Radharani. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna who wants to experience mood of Radharani. He see Radha experience more joy than he himself. When they are together, it is Radharani who feels more blissful than Krishna himself. And Krishna is wondering always why, what is it in him that make Radha derive so much pleasure out of him? What is in it him? What qualities that he possesses that gives so much joy, so much pleasure to Radharani? And he wants to understand that. And therefore he comes as if the mood of Radharani. the complexion of Radharani. And he speaks this verse. This is Radharani's heart, spoken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That what is in her heart, what is it that Radharani is expressing? She's saying that let Krishna is my only Lord of heart, my Prananatha. He is my Prananatha, and there is no one else, if no one else other than him in my heart. And this is not an expression of a Bollywood heroine. Uh, this is Radharani is not. If this is Radharani's love for Krishna, and she's saying, let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant Dasi, who has fallen at his lotus feet. Let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a lampata. And can do whatever he likes, but he is still, and no one else is a worshipable Lord of my heart. This is Radharani's heart being expressed through this verse by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, again, the same point that at our stage, we need to understand how we should apply this into our life, our stage where we are at a devotional in the devotional life. That we may not be able to develop so much love for Krishna as demonstrated by gopis and Radharani. However, what we can do is we can develop service attitude towards Krishna and devotees and their mission, which is not very difficult. Now, this service attitude is not very difficult. Krishna says the love and service goes together. So if we are able to serve Krishna and devotees and their mission nicely, which is possible given our limitations, given all our shortcomings, given all our problems that we all possess. But that is not so. This is possible. So we should do what is possible for us to do immediately and urgently. So by doing that, actually serving them wholeheartedly to the best of our abilities and capacity, we can become eligible to attract their mercy. So the love that we have experienced in past, the spiritual bliss that we have experienced in past is due to the mercy of Krishna, and Krishna's mercy can get attracted. We can attract Krishna's mercy if we serve devotees nicely, if we serve Krishna nicely, if we serve them wholeheartedly to the best of our ability and capacity. Then we become eligible to attract their mercy, and they to bestow their mercy upon us, because Krishna is all eager to give his mercy to us. And with his mercy alone, and not on the basis of our sadhana, we can go back to Godhead, back to Krishna, to continue to serve him there. What is some people ask, what is the concept of heaven? Where you want to go after this life? Then a lot of people say, I'll go to heaven. And what will you do there? They say, oh, of course I will enjoy there. But that is not true. The truth is far different from that. Uh, the, we are part and parcel of Krishna. So our best position is to love and serve Krishna, is in serving Krishna. And as we serve Krishna, we derive great pleasure. And we derive great pleasure like that is the right source of pleasure for us, not the otherwise by exploiting his material energy we trying to derive pleasure. Now that's a incorrect way of getting any pleasure. Now because it is Krishna's energy, there could be some pleasure that could be available, but which is very limited and temporary, and this is unlimited and eternal. So completely opposite. So we shouldn't be foolish to make our choices, and hence we should continue. We should aspire to go to Krishna and serve him there, not go there and enjoy with him. That's not right attitude. We want to serve him without any motivation. And Krishna is Ananda Kanda. Ananda, the wholesome Ananda is Krishna. By connecting with him, we will also experience Ananda. There's no doubt about it. But we don't approach Krishna for sense enjoyment, for our enjoyment, but we approach him for serving him there. Some of the verses we'll read from the 20th chapter of Antar Leela, 52nd verse. I'll just read translations and you can go through these beautiful verses later. In connection with the same mood that Radharani is having, Mahaprabhu is elaborating this Ashlishya Padartam. That verse come as a 47th verse, and later Mahaprabhu continues saying that I do not. Then this shows the mood of Radharani. What is she thinking while serving Krishna? I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. Now we can imagine, we can't say anything like this. We can't even understand what is being said here. What to speak of we speaking something like this for anyone, anybody in the material world. 55th verse, another beautiful verse. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still show her deep anger towards him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the purport, a devotee who is satisfied only with his own sense gratification certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joined the the Prakrata Sahajiyas, who we considered as non-devotees. So another very lot of beautiful verses, and another verse, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, purport of the verse 52nd. Purport, Prabhupada says that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that a devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of sensing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accept that unhappiness as the greatest of all happiness. Those who are materialist, however, are very proud of their material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, lies prakrata sahajiyas, regard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. This is the mentality of creative worker who wants to enjoy sense gratification by making a show of service to Krishna. So Prabhupada warns us that that there could be the sense enjoying mentality that could be present in even in the Krishna consciousness as well. So one has to be able to differentiate that, and having a continuous service mode is best way to understand that we are who we are and how should we be. So we'll take a pause. It's 1:12, and thank you so much for staying back because we wanted to complete these 3 verses. But again, all these verses have very deep meanings. We probably just touched upon some meanings that are visible, that are apparent in these verses, but they can provide greater, deeper meanings as well, and it will not be incorrect. It will be interesting to deep dive in these verses more, to understand them more, and relish them more. So Mahaprabhu relish this remembrance of Krishna in the separation of Krishna. And we all are expected to relish our Krishna consciousness as we perform sadhana bhakti. We are in the initial stage of performing Vaidhi bhakti or sadhana bhakti, where we we need to learn to subordinate our good feeling and bad feelings to perform bhakti consistently with commitment. Whatever happiness, spiritual bliss that we experience in whatever activity that gives us happiness, we should consider that to be Krishna's mercy and become more fixed up in the service of Krishna. That way, we are on the right path, but we will make a rapid progress towards Krishna. And ultimately, with the mercy of Krishna, with the mercy of devotees, we will be able to go back to Krishna. Thank you so much. And we will take any questions that you might have.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Roger.
So just some few comments from my not so qualified voice. And as you said that these verses have got so many deeper meanings, but to my understanding, the meaning you told was that deeper, that even to go to that level is like a blissfulness in Krishna consciousness. And all the time you keep adding, keep enriching us in the many ways of devotional service, that how it can be performed, how our sentiments should work, our emotions should be, how we should logically perceive the things in Krishna consciousness, and so on and so forth. And that keeps on going. So it is always blissful, as you say that. Thank you for staying back, and I feel that thank you for continuing it up to this time. And it may, if even it goes long, and then also it will be enriching only. Like that is our at least my poor span of attention, that it doesn't get engrossed into that lengthy one. Otherwise, these sessions should go on and should keep enriching us, so that at least the stubborn heart of at least mine, it can become fertile, at least some bit part of that become fertile for cultivation of the devotional service to Lord Krishna. But ultimately it's your whole heart and great endeavors that are working. So thank you very much for your so great efforts and endeavors to make us Krishna conscious. Thank you very much, Guruji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So that's all given by Srila Prabhupada and our devotees, senior devotees. And we are just speaking what they have spoken, they have written. So all glories to them. And we have to do our part with more commitment, with more dedication, become more serious in our doing our part. And that way, that is the right way of expressing our gratitude towards all these great Vaishnavas and senior devotees. And of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I
Hare
don't
Krishna,
see.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you very much for the simplified explanation of emotions and sentiments versus reason and logic. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam.
So if don't see any hands raised, so if there are no more questions,
At least we can just pay our gratitude to you, Prabhuji. Though we are not in physical proximity, but at least on this Zoom online also, just so that by your mercy we can progress in our devotional service. So at least we can chant one Hare Krishna Mahamantra for you. Before that, after that, Swapnil Prabhuji, you can ask your question. Hare Krishna. I would request everyone to unmute yourself and very enthusiastically chant one round for Mahapati Ram Prabhuji, so that we can get enriched by him more and more. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Swapnil Prabhu, you have a question?
Prabhuji, my question was with respect to the topic when we said reason, logic, and emotion versus sentimental. So I just wanted to share my experience, and as I said, I feel love and emotion, and probably you said that reason, logic should be balanced with emotion and sentiments. But what I feel is love and sentiment has larger ratio as compared to logic and reason, because the love and emotion will drive that particular reason and logic. So that was just my share of experience. That's what I wanted to just convey, probably. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. So that happens, Guruji, at a level when you are at a bhava stage and a prema stage. At the stage of gopis, they have no logic for loving Krishna. They are not guided by scriptures. The gopas perform Indra after Govardhan Leela happens and Govinda Kunda. He performed elaborate abhishek of Krishna with all golden paraphernalia and all the opulent abhishek that he can performs on Krishna. And against that, they leaves, and then the Gopa friends comes and they see Krishna, and then they make Krishna's there, sit there. They bring some flowers from somewhere, some nearby trees. They make a crown using some sticks here and there, and then they pour some water on Krishna, and they do that abhishek also. Now that is whatever those gopas are doing is not as per logic, as per vidha, as per scriptural injunctions, Naradaya Pancharatra Purana, which describes how abhishek should be carried out. Now, but that is not done at that level, and that is more liked by Krishna because of the sentiments that Gopa friends have for Krishna, the love that those friends have for Krishna, the dependence that those friends have for Krishna. At our level, we may consider ourselves to be advanced at that stage, but the reality could be different. Our reality could be we are still bound in the material consciousness. We are still not there yet. But when we go there, when we reach that stage, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra with ruchi, there is a asakti, there is a ruchi, there is a nishtha, there is unflinching faith on Krishna that he will care for me, he will protect me, and whatever he is giving me is his mercy. We see it as his mercy, and that intense love then we develop. Then you're right, the logic may take a backseat. Like Uddhava was sent by Krishna to go to to Vrindavan. He's saying that to go and pacify them and explain them here some philosophy, so that their pain of separation will reduce. So Uddhava says, okay, fine, I've heard Bhagavad Gita, and I can speak some verses from Bhagavad Gita and then help them understand that how you can see Krishna in everywhere. Krishna is never separated, never gone out of Vrindavan. And but when he meet gopis, when he meet Vrajavasis, then he understand that the love that they're experiencing, the separation that they're experiencing, is something that he also cannot comprehend. And then he becomes shrub in Vrindavan, where all the queens of Dwarka go and pray to that shrub and hear Bhagavatam from him later. That is near Manasi Ganga. So, so the logic doesn't work at that stage. But to reach that stage, we need those track of reason and emotions both. With emotions, we experience bliss in Krishna consciousness, and with reason, the logic, we stay on the right path of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is not very difficult for us to trip from the right path. There are sahajyas which I have described. I didn't spoke elaborately on them, but they are the one who consider themselves advanced in devotional subject, and they cry while singing Krishna kirtan. They cry in the kirtan. They they dance in ecstasy. They perform all the pastimes also that Krishna performs, saying that Krishna has entered into them, and they are not them. They are Krishna, and they are Radhas, they are gopis, they are male and female. They can perform pastimes and justify them, calling them to be performed by Radha and Krishna, entering into their bodies, and it can lead to complete immoral and complete unethical activities, and they will end up justifying those in the name of scripture. So if you are driven only by emotion, this is what you may end up becoming, and that can be very horrible. That's why when that verse said that aikanta ki harer bhakti utpata eva kalpate, that when you perform devotional service alone without proper guidance, it can create utpat in the society. Utpat is disturbance in the society. So that is what we should be guarded with, and hence before we reach that stage, we need a track of both reason and emotion. It is not that, not to say that nobody else is in, no, we are not to judge that if you are on that stage, at that stage, or not at that stage, but it is for individual to assess and then take help from reason. Why we do what we do. It's very important to understand. We chant 16 rounds. Why we chant 16 rounds? Why we only chant Krishna's name? Why we cannot get the same ecstasy by chanting Coca-Cola? Is it not easier? Doing japa of Coca-Cola is much easier. Hare Krishna Mahamantra has 16 words, is a very long mantra, takes 2 hours to complete. But if I ask you to chant Coca-Cola 108 into 16 times, you will probably finish it in half an hour. So why Coca-Cola is not potent? Why only Krishna? So you need reasons, you need understand things, you need rationals, and you also need emotions. So it's like work like a track, a railway track, and they both go together. At some stage, you're right, maybe at the stage of bhava, you can experience un, unrestricted intense love for Krishna, and that time you may not fully understand logic, and that is understandable. Prabhupada did a lot of illogical things. Prabhupada, we give this example many times. Prabhupada established Krishna consciousness centers in all the big cities in the world. And then he brought all foreign devotees to Mayapur, and he pointed in front of he stood in a paddy field and said that the world headquarters of Krishna consciousness will be in this place. Now he pointed his stick to a paddy field area, open land. Uh, Mayapur even today looks like a village. What to speak how it looked like in 1970 when Prabhupada brought his first batch of foreign disciples to Mayapur. It was a village. It was very, very, very small village. And Prabhupada pointed his stick to a place saying that the world headquarters of ISKCON will be in this place. Now, reaching Mayapur even today is painful. From airport, even if you fly to Kolkata, go take a car to Mayapur, it's going to be painful 4-hour drive for you to before you can reach Mayapur. And the world headquarters of ISKCON is a big thing. And Prabhupada, now this is completely illogical for Prabhupada to say that this is where world headquarters of ISKCON will come up when he had centers, a big thriving centers in cities like London, New York, Los Angeles, Paris, Germany, and many other places. But that is what a pure devotee will do. A pure devotee will aspire something like this because this is birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, and Prabhupada considered himself um, as a follower of Lord Chaitanya. He's a servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said, I will do this for Lord Chaitanya. I at his birthplace should become world headquarters for ISKCON. And Krishna fulfilled that dream. So what seems illogical can become logical by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's grace. But that can be done by pure devotees. At our stage, if we try do that, that will not give us a fruitful, our bhakti will not remain very consistent. We will not be very committed in our bhakti, and it will not be very fruitful. And there is a great chance of we losing our bhakti also. So hence we should be guided by reason and logic, and we should have emotions also. That's a balanced approach. At least at our stage, we can say that. So
Thank you,
again,
Prabhu.
yeah,
Thank
that
you.
is my view, but I can understand you can have other views as well. We can have other views as well. So that's
No, in what context you have explained, it's understood that probably I may be partially right, but I think the context what you explained just now, Prabhuji, that we are neophytes, we have not qualified to that level. Probably at that level, when we reach the level of a very, very pure devotee, probably the love for Krishna dominates everything rather than being logical or reasoning. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for your nectarial thought. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So we'll end today's session. We'll continue next session with our Bhagavad Gita topics. We are discussing 17th chapter. And but again, it's a chapter by chapter, topic by topic discussion. So even those who have missed some of the previous sessions, they can continue to attend and continue to benefit from hearing about Krishna. So we'll meet next Sunday and continue with our discussion with some other new topic from Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Dandavat.
much.
Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.